everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that you are having a fantastic day so far, especially if your day has just begun. If your day is kind of towards the middle or the end, well, I really hope that it is going well and just, you're being able to feel accomplished and happy with the way that things are going despite any troubles or any problems that may come your way. And, I want to encourage you to take the 5-minute reset time if you are having a really tough day and things are really dragging you down and creating roadblocks in the middle of your plan, your day, your journey that you're trying to create for the day, or if it's just like part of the overall plan for your life or some sort of like goal setting that you're on. If you find that things are just continuing to get in your way, just take a 5-minute reset for that day. At least if you have more time, then take that, but take 5 minutes to be by yourself, to regain your peace, to get back to baseline, to kind of just like restart for the day so that you are able to, feel calm and come up with a short list of things, at least 4 things that you feel grateful for. Kind of re-humble yourself if you're feeling all over the place in your emotions. If you can truly be real with yourself and know that your emotions are a little, you're being a little dramatic. Maybe you're hyping things up too much. Maybe you're just letting yourself, kind of complain too much. Just letting it go to an all-time high where you could bring it down a little bit. And there are going to be times where however you're reacting, despite how overreacting it may seem to others, it could totally be justified depending upon what's going on. I get it. I totally get it. But sometimes we have to really talk to ourselves and be like, listen, this is not necessary. Do we really need to go all out for this thing? Is it actually worth expending all this energy to feel all these emotions? So you want to talk to yourself about that. But also I want you to make sure that you're able to walk away from your 5-minute reset time feeling at least neutral about the rest of the day. You just want to remember to not feel so angry about what's going on that you want to walk away and inflict that pain and that anger and that negative attitude on anyone else and ruin their day. And you just want to be able to walk away feeling neutral so that you're able to still enjoy the rest of your day. Even if nothing else good happens, you still be able to enjoy being alive and finishing up your day and getting into your bed and knowing and believing that the next day is going to be even better. So that is my encouragement for you. But happy Wednesday. I hope that it's actually a great day. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about the importance of self-care. And today, Wednesday, we're going to talk about why self-care is super important. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I think this one might be a quick one, but y'all know when I say that, it's usually the opposite, and I don't understand how that works out, but let's jump right in. So self-care is essential to your overall well-being and will assist in being able to function at your best. And engaging in self-care is you actively improving your overall health and well-being, which is your decision to act on your needs and do what makes you happy and satisfies your needs. And so I believe that self-care is absolutely essential to your well-being because it helps you to put some focus on yourself if there are things you need to improve. It also makes you take a step back and evaluate the boundaries that you may need to put up in your life, where you may need to adjust. It will also help you to take a step back and actually rest and relax when you need it, to not overwhelm yourself, not take on too many responsibilities, and it helps you to really keep some control on your emotions if you do feel like you kind of just fly off all the time and are just feeling those feelings all the time because you just feel super overwhelmed, anxious, upset because there's just too much going on and you're not giving yourself that rest and you're not fully taking advantage of any sort of reset time that you actually really need. Engaging in self-care will, improve your overall health and well-being. And it is a decision that everyone should be making, and you need to satisfy those needs. Everyone needs to. So I encourage you that if you have been against it for so long, or you're kind of on the fence about it, really think about that. Really think about how much better you could serve everyone else if that is your goal in life. And just in general, being children to parents, or, friends to friends, and partners to your partner. Like, just think about how much better you could serve others if you actually filled up your cup and then assisted them in filling up theirs. Like, you can't do anything if you all of a sudden run out. And what if you run out in the worst time, in the time that they actually need you the most? Think about that. That's like the kind of things I think about. I'm like, wow, what if my child is going through some sort of crisis, but I just don't have enough juice in the tank to actually take care of her, or to give her the good advice, or support her in what she's going through? Like, how much more terrible would you feel if you weren't able to be there for the people that you truly care about because you didn't take the time to take care of yourself before that? So keep that in mind, please. It's pretty easy for us to become overly consumed with everything in our lives that we don't take the time to care for ourselves and make sure we continually have the ability to enjoy everything in our lives. And if you neglect taking care of yourself, it can easily cause most things in your life to go downhill. It's like I just said, you won't be able to help others if you don't have any gas in the tank at all. You'll feel even more helpless and even more sad and depressed on top of that. And also, a lot of times we think that it's more important to serve others first. Like, we need to make sure that we get all of our work stuff done, like overabundantly get it done, make sure that we're there for all our friends and offering every possible favor we could, serving our spouse as much as we can, and kind of breaking our back to get everything done so that their life is a lot easier. But what about your life? What about your feelings? What about you having people break their back to get things done for you? And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the end all goal, that you want people to be breaking their back to complete things for you. But I'm just saying, if you are doing that for others, then, it would be nice if you allow someone else to support you. And I bet there are people in your life that do want to support you, do want to help you, be there for you, but you just want to pile everything on top of your shoulders until you literally get that last little piece of something and you just breaks your whole back. It's not helpful. And a lot of times we'll also just let all the responsibilities that we continue to accept and pile up get in the way of us being able to actually make any room or any time to have self-care for ourselves. And it's so easy to neglect, but I would say that if there's ever a time that you've actually engaged in some sort of self-care activity, think about how everything else in your life was affected, and I bet it was super positive. And then think of a time where you went a long time without engaging in some sort of self-care activity or something that made you super happy, and think about how your life went then, and compare those two and see which one you would rather do. Some things that can happen when you don't practice self-care is burnout, feeling overly stressed and overwhelmed, moody, or you might slip into more harsh feelings like depression. And I think I mentioned that, if you just get all burned out, you're not going to be there for other people. You're not going to be able to complete your work to your actual best ability. You're not going to be able to be the best parent you want to be, the best spouse you could be, the best friend, the best daughter to your parents. You will just be burnt all out and worth nothing to no one, not even to yourself. And then feeling overly stressed and overwhelmed, like I said, your emotions could be running wild and super moody. And then if you do end up slipping into a depression because you just have not made the time to take care of yourself at all, it's much harder to get yourself to back to your baseline from there if you continue to let yourself slip down the hill. So please consider that when you're like, oh, it's okay, I'll just continually pushing it back a week, when it becomes months and years and then you don't ever do anything. And man, you could have been feeling so good if you had just planned out at least one day in your whole month. I think you should do it weekly or every other week at least, the bare minimum, but I know some people can only do it monthly, and even that is better than nothing. Self-care can actually contribute to self-acceptance because you will be able to learn your limits over time and start to listen to your inner self on how to live your life with more balance. And this also leads me to bringing up personal boundaries. I know. I talk about them all the time. Make sure you are not taking on too much in your life. Have the ability to say no when needed and can make the right choices that will best support you and your season of life. And establishing boundaries contributes to self-care because you are doing what is best for you, and boundaries help make that happen. So let's go back to the self-acceptance thing. you are absolutely contributing to self-acceptance when you are engaging in self-care. You will be able to learn your limits. You will be able to realize, wow, I should have actually done my little self-care activity or self-care half day or full day before this. And then you learn that threshold of like, okay, once I start feeling like this is when I need to take the break. If you're not planning it out, if you're not actually scheduling it out, which I fully suggest that you physically schedule it out in your calendar for however often you're going to do it. But then, even if you do that and you realize that you're feeling these feelings and you know that if you let it go any farther without doing, like intervening and doing anything about it, that you'll just kind of like start to go off the deep end, that you need to integrate another self-care activity or move it up or whatever you feel like is best. So you'll be able to learn your threshold and your limits, which will also be accepting of knowing that there are just points where you're going to come to these feelings and these moments, and you need to be ready to do something about it. And you need to start listening to yourself. I'm sure there is a voice that you might have continually like hid back in the farthest closet of your mind where you're like, where they're like, hey, I think you need a break. Hey, you're not really creating a really good life balance here. Hey, what the heck are you doing? And I want to encourage you to let that person out. Let them out, bring them up to the forefront, ask them questions, find out what they think is best for you, and then like consider that in your plan. Listen to what your body and your mind is telling you to do, and be like, okay, I think I might need a break, or, this might be a little too much. I am not ready for this, not mentally prepared. Listen to those voices and have them help you establish what you need to do. And then in regards to personal boundaries, yes, personal boundaries are absolutely amazing because they set the limits. They are your personal limits. So when you get to that threshold of needing to say no to things and not accept them, and just know that you just can't take any more on, or you can't take on certain things that are just not going to help your well-being, your mental health, all of those things. And you're able to just draw those lines in the sand and know that, okay, I'm setting my limits no matter what. I'm not going to go over these limits. Sometimes limits can be flexible, but I would encourage you that if you are kind of flexing with your limits, that you try it out and then evaluate how that went, reflect back on it and see, did that work? How often do I think I need to be flexible with these? What is it teaching me? What is it taking away? Those are all things to have in consideration of, being flexible with your boundaries, which isn't a bad thing, but it's like you don't want people to stomp all over them and just sorry guys. You don't want to let someone stomp all over your boundaries. So keep that in mind when you are establishing them and actually following them. And it'll just, having those boundaries will help you make it easier for you to make the best decision for yourself of when you need to do self-care or when you need to just say no, because that's one of the hardest ones. And if you are having a hard time figuring out what you can do to start incorporating self-care into your life, ask yourself this question and it will lead you in the right direction. Are you ready? Here is the question. How can I reduce my stress, feel better overall, and move forward with a system that supports my daily life better? Let me tell you the question one more time. How can I reduce my stress, feel better overall, and move forward with a system that supports my daily life better? So think about that question, write it down, come up with some ideas, and that can get you a jump start on figuring out how to incorporate self-care into your regular life schedule. So, it's like, what will reduce your stress? Will walking, working out, maybe taking on less of this certain responsibility, this certain project, and then what will make you feel better overall? Again, working out, or maybe you want to eat better, or maybe you want to start a new hobby or get back into an old hobby. What will help you move forward? What will support you in what you want to do in your everyday life? Think about all those things within that question, write down your notes, and it will definitely lead you in the direction of figuring out how to start incorporating self-care into your life on the regular. So that's it. I think this episode was a little shorter than normal. But yeah, I thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. I am super appreciative of you guys coming back every time, or new visitors to the show. Thank you so much. If you really like this episode and you know someone else that would like it, I encourage you to share it with them. Also, please check the description box for any notes for the show, and also where you can find me on Instagram, my email address for any questions, comments, concerns, or prayer requests, and my website where you can find literally all the things that I do in regards to mental wellness encouragement, and any other media that I have online, like YouTube videos and a blog coming soon. So anyway, have a good one, you guys. I hope you guys come back for the next episodes for the rest of the week. But until then, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.